to minutes. And we'll just take them individually unless there's some request to take them as a group from the town board.
Oh, individually would be great.
Okay, so let's start with the September 13th, 2012 minutes.
If I may ask a question? Jamie, what is the process for putting the minutes? You recorded the meeting? Correct, and then what happens after that? Do a draft? What happens to the draft?
The draft then is attached to your board packet.
So that is the draft.
Correct.
What we have here.
It would be the draft until you guys approve them tonight.
Do we do verbatim minutes?
Depends what you try to do as minimal as possible.
Well, we do verbatim minutes quite often. That's why you see a huge amount of time spent on minutes. Where there are larger issues, more detailed issues, Jamie has gone above and beyond to provide verbatim minutes. The digital recordings, there were regular taped meetings prior. Those meeting tapes many times did not work and or were disposed and weren't available to us to review. We now digitally record those meetings. They are downloaded immediately onto our server, and they'll reside there in a redundant system so that they'll be there for posterity. Anybody can come in and get a copy of those. So if there's ever a question on any meeting minutes, you're able to review the tape itself, and that would be kind of the final word on it. But we do ask that you review the minutes, and if there are any issues or concerns or comments, this is the time to make those corrections so that you feel the record is accurate. Certainly the clerk's office strives to make it accurate. So do you have a question or concern on any particular any particular line item in the September 13th, 2012 minutes?
No, the September 13th, I think, would be acceptable. I would make a motion to approve those.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, let's move on to the September 27th meeting.
The September 27th, there are 4.5 minutes missing out of the minutes.
He's saying there's 4.5 minutes. What's missing? What items, what specific items are missing, Mr.
If
German?
you bear with me here for a second. I sat and listened through the recordings. Digital, Jamie, like yours, I can't get it to work right.
But what specific issue? I mean, these are not
The
verbatim.
portions that were missing.
Pardon me?
I recorded the portions that were missing. There's comments and statements missing that I think are very important to be in the minutes. Same with the October 1st, and then the special meeting we had, it was called with short notice, where I had filed with Attorney Bucher.
Mr. German, have you put together a list of those items that you feel need attention?
I had recorded them here if I can get my recorder working.
Well, that really won't help us, in the long haul here. If you have corrections to the minutes, then this would be the time to let us know exactly what you'd like corrected.
Can I, or just ask you to move along, you have an opportunity to look at that, can I address the minutes of September 27th, please?
Please.
Okay. So Jamie doesn't have to take this, maybe just pass that down to her if you would. I do have a couple of things for page 2 of the minutes. The first one would be an addition, and just even for ease of that, Jamie, I put the time on the audio tape where those appear. And these are all under the heading or topic of the Clifton Larson Allen Management Letter between minutes 1632 and 1640. I think there's an important statement there, which I think was made by Chairman Van Sock, and it says she said that she would like to get the board more involved in the financial aspects of the management of the town. I'd like to have that statement added. Then between 17:13 and 17:50 in that 37-minute period. I think there's some important things that need to be added to the minutes, and I will read them and ask for this addition. Chairman Van Sock said that the audit function is very important and oversight by the board is very important. She referred to the, quote, Clifton Larson Allen management letter, unquote, dated April 16, 2012, and stated that close oversight and review of accounting information by management and the board are the best means of preventing or detecting errors and irregularities. Chairman Van Sock noted that the board has been encouraged to pay close attention to financial matters. She stated that the town budget is about $3 million, and the members of the town board should be spending time and energy to make sure that they know where the money is coming in and where it is going out. And then in the fourth paragraph, the longer paragraph on the second page under item B, I would ask that the following sentence be stricken, and I will tell you why. It reads, the POs are approved. This is in reference, I might add, to Fire Chief Dan Buchholz, but the POs are approved by the chief, who is the administrator, and the bills are already paid before the board sees them. I would ask that that line be stricken, and I'll tell you why, because here's the direct quote from Chairman Van Sock. As Dan is the administrator, he issues the purchase orders, he approves the bills, and there is really no in-between. We've already spent the money by the time we're approving the bills for payment. And I understand what I think you were trying to say, and I think that's a bit misconstrued in the minutes, but the reality it is that money is not dispensed until it's approved by the board here. Is that not correct? So I would ask that the minutes be corrected.
The obligation is already incurred.
I understand, but the obligation, precisely, the obligation is incurred, but to have it say the bills have already been paid before the board sees them is inaccurate. So I think it should be corrected to say the obligation or commitment has been made.
Okay.
So I'd ask for that correction. And then I would ask, it's in the same area with the Clifton Larson issue, and it follows on to that discussion about Clerk Treasurer Salentine and Chief Buchholz having some input, and this is a request of mine regarding recommendations and working with board members to see that we tighten up some of those procedures. And I would ask the statement attributed to me be added that Supervisor Fisher indicated that he did not want this item to dry on the vine. And in addition to that, the Chairman Van Sock made the statement and expressed the intention to implement the new policies and procedures as soon as possible, but not later than the beginning of the new year. I would ask that that be added as well. And the other request that I would have for these minutes, it's really kind of a standing request for all of the minutes. Could we at the end of them routinely have an item that says date typed, and then in parentheses by whom, a person's initials, and then I think they should also have another line item, date they're approved by the town board, and I would ask that that be added to all minutes of Plan Commission, town board meetings, be they special or regular meetings. And those would be my requests for additions and corrections to the meeting minutes of the town board meeting of September 27, 2012.
Well, since I believe that there's probably going to be more additions and corrections to the rest of the minutes on here, and you've asked for very specific changes that I feel the clerk should be able to verify and confirm, because she's responsible for the minutes and how they're presented, that we go through all of your changes, and that we table those that need corrections, and they can be updated and presented at the next meeting for your review and approval.
There's one I'd like to get into the minutes tonight. A statement that you made yourself in regards to that special meeting you called, which would be the October 16th.
Well, shall we take them in order? I prefer to take them in order, Mr. Is there, this particular meeting was was the 27th now. 13th we finished up, so we moved on from there. So the 27th is going to need to be addressed, and we've been given, you have anything for the 27th, Mr. German?
Well, Mr. Fisher covered pretty much everything I had.
Okay. Anybody have anything on October 1st, a special town board meeting?
I think we need to take some action on that. We just can't let it sit there.
No, well, what I just suggested was it,
Suggested we were gonna take them individually, so we
Okay.
make a motion for each one individually.
and,
There was a motion in the beginning,
There's
Joe.
not a motion, there's a person,
Okay, so you want a motion for each one?
but we would need to table it. I thought we could table them. You want to table them individually? That's fine. Would you like to make that motion?
said we're gonna take them individually.
Yeah. Well, we didn't anticipate at that moment that there would be so many changes, but we've approved the 13th. I would look to have a motion to table September 27th for review.
I'll second that motion.
Nobody made it first. Who's the first?
I'll make the first.
Okay, Everett, who would like to make the second? Is there a second to table? I'll second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye. I'm opposing.
You're opposing, okay. October 1st, special town board meeting. Are there any changes to that?
Yes. That would be the second page, top of the page. There are statements that are not included into the minutes, which I will play here for you.
Mr. German, this is really not appropriate. We have no way of recording this information. If you would provide... Mr. German, would you please stop?
This is the recording.
We have the recording, Mr. German. If you would indicate to us what you feel is missing or what you feel needs to be changed, just like Mr. Fisher has, then we'll address it. But
Okay, but your previous statement was that some of the recordings were not legible.
I've never said that our digital recordings were not legible. What I said was those recordings that were done by the previous boards on tape. We now do digital recordings. There's no reason for them not to be. If you can hear them and listen to them, so can we. We provided you that copy, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Then what you have, we have.
Well, I would ask them that the October 1st be reviewed and be
Jamie's asked to make a statement.
I'm just gonna ask for the minutes if,
You can't hear her.
sorry.
It's really, you guys are doing something else. You're doing
I'm gonna request, excuse me, my office works very hard on these minutes. We have lots more to do than just minutes in the office. I am requesting that we do the bare minimum that is only required, and I will refer you all to the minutes, or the digital recordings of the minutes, and you are more than welcome to stop in at any time, and we will take the time to put that on there. If you need clarification, you may listen to the minutes, please. That is my request.
I would make a motion at this point, under the minutes, that all future minutes are to maintain minimal discussion points. Anybody who wants access to the tapes, they're available there in town all the time, come on in and listen to them. It's how the town used to operate. I know, they used to come in and listen to the tapes.
Joe, these minutes are the only way.
There's no discussion until there's a second. Is there a second? I'll second for discussion. Go ahead.
These minutes are the only way we have to get what is happening up here by the board members out to our constituents. And they're very important, and I think they should be truthful and completed.
The request that you're making is unreasonable because you have no idea how thorough the town of Waukesha minutes are now compared to what they were before. And it is a disservice to the clerk's office for you to make any suggestions that we have not done a good job transcribing the actions. And I would suggest that you look at minutes from other communities before you cast any dispersions on what the work that's done here. I think it's really a disservice to the clerk's office and a disgrace, The reason that you have the ability to nitpick in the minutes is because we have now gone so far as to digitally record. We provide you copies immediately as you request them, and you can review the minutes and do the important topics there. And if there's something that you wish to make a statement on and get it in the record, you can do that at any point in time. There is no municipality that does verbatim minutes as often as we do. The clerk's office has gone above and beyond to provide you as much transparency as possible for each and every difficult issue that we've had to deal with this year, and that's caused them much delay in trying to get other work done. They're trying to balance all of that work. And to suggest that they have done something to not provide accurate minutes is disgraceful. So at this point in time, given the circumstances and the type of activities that are going on here, even though I typically would not support Mr. Bansky's motion, I am going to support Mr. Bansky's motion because I think the two of you are going to continue to make a mockery of this entire process. And I'm saddened that you're choosing to do this. We have done minutes here for years. You have sat, Mr. Fisher, on this plan commission for years. You've never said a word about the minutes. Mr. German, you knew very well when the previous clerk was here, you told me she never did enough minutes, and very little description. And now with the amount of time, amount of energy, amount of information that our clerk's office provides, you are casting doubt on her and that office. That's despicable. Where were you when there were no minutes being done appropriately and when the tapes were disappearing and you sat here and did nothing?
Are you quite done?
I'm not quite done.
These minutes are very important to our constituents. There's 3 people in the office, and if it's too much of a chore to get the proper minutes out to the public, with 3 people in the office, when everything is digitally recorded, and they sit there and type the minutes out, I think everything in that recording should be in the minutes.
Well,
I'm not accusing the clerk's office of anything.
We don't do verbatim minutes. No one does routine verbatim minutes.
Madam
Okay?
Chair,
Check
I'd like
the
to-
minutes.
I'd like to call the vote.
Okay.
I'd
We'll do
like
it.
to speak if I may,
I
please.
call the vote.
I'd like to,
Recognize the
I'd like to ask the
debates
sheriff if I
closed
may
at that
speak.
point.
If there's further discussion, even on calling of the vote, it needs to be heard. Go ahead, Mr. Fisher.
Thank you. I will be more respectful of you, Madam Chairman, than you have been of me.
Okay.
I think it's time to try to bring a little bit of dignity to this process. I understand where Jamie's coming from. I will be empathetic to you and your staff. For anybody to have to write up a set of minutes of one of these meetings, it's got to be the worst kind of punishment that I could ever imagine. If you don't believe me, come to a meeting and listen to the audio recordings. Even if you were going to do it verbatim, I mean, I can't think of a much worse punishment than to try to do that. So let's cut them a little bit of slack. Whether they're verbatim or otherwise, it's a horrible undertaking. That said, this municipality is not functioning properly if we have minutes of meetings that have not been typed up and presented for over 6 months. And in fairness, I saw these 11 sets of minutes for the first time this Sunday. I know people are busy, but we've got to find a way through it to do better than that. I will not support your motion, Supervisor Bansky, because I think we do need a good and accurate record of what happens here. Many of our town residents simply would not find it convenient, appropriate, and necessary for everybody in the town to come in and listen to an audio recording. So let's get a little bit of balance here. Let's try to see if we can clean up our meetings, be more respectful, be less argumentative, less confrontational, people trying to talk over one another, trying to demean each other, so whoever gets the thankless chore of typing up those minutes doesn't have to go through absolute hell.
I have something to say before we call the question. I think everybody's forgotten that we had several elections. And you gentlemen do not sit in the office, even though you've been invited, And the office staff has done a phenomenal job dealing with the amount of election work, and it's incredible. I mean, it starts 45 days before the election with absentee and the rest. I had no idea until I was in the office how much time and energy it took. And so this is not Jamie's, way of doing business. And you all know that. She likes to have everything up to speed. And if these minutes had been in a process like they would normally be to be approved this evening, we would be completely up to date at the next meeting. Of course, now through your efforts, we are not going to be up to date. The office staff will need to redo some minutes as I understand it, and it will continue to not be on the website. That is partly on you, as were the Plan Commission minutes that were also delayed. So we have a motion on the floor. I'd like to do a roll call vote. Jamie, would you be able to reread the motion?
Please repeat the motion, please.
Yes.
Repeat the motion.
Yes, we've heard you, Mike.
I have maintained minimal discussion points to a minimal.
I think we need to clarify the motion. The motion is that we go to minimal minutes for the time being. The video or the digital recordings will be provided to anybody that's of interest. We will go back to the meeting minutes as we have done for many, many years here at the town. And the robust minutes will no longer be provided. Tapes will be available to any and all as part of this year, and that's the motion as it stands. Sir, is acceptable to you as
I just have a question of clarification. You said for the time being, I think. Is that part of your motion, Supervisor Vansky?
My motion is that the meeting minutes go to the minimum required period. Tapes are, you don't have to come in and listen to the tape, we can email you the WAV file.
I've seconded that motion. We're calling the vote. Please do a roll call, Jenny.
Chairman Van Zock,
Yes.
Supervisor Bansky,
Yes.
Supervisor German,
No.
Supervisor Laska,
Yes.
Supervisor Fisher.
No.
Right. So gentlemen, you now have a choice. So how you'd like to conduct the rest of the meeting and the meeting minutes. What is yours?
We go to the next line, October 1.
Okay, October 1, gentlemen.
I'll make a motion to approve October 1.
Is there a second? I'll second. Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Opposed.
Mark the opposed, please. October 11th?
Make a motion to approve October 11.
Second.
Discussion.
Go ahead.
I have,
Can't have discussion until there's a second. There's a first on the floor, pending motion.
I second.
she just seconded.
I didn't hear her.
I do have, and I gave this to Jamie in writing, and even forwarded electronically so it doesn't have to be retyped. But I would ask for an addition. I think it's a critically important addition to the end of these minutes, and I ask that this be added verbatim. It begins at hour 2, minute 26, the 58th second, and goes to hour 2, the 27th minute, and the 22nd second. And it reads as follows: Supervisor Fisher said, and this is a quote verbatim. Back to the question I asked. If staff meetings are a thing of the past, I can certainly support that. The thing that I would ask then is, in terms of having supervisor reports, and it's even in our town ordinances, that supervisors then have the opportunity and the right and the privilege to put things on the agenda for meetings. Do we agree with that? It's right in our ordinance. Chairman Van Zock responded, quote, certainly, unquote. Supervisor Fisher replied, quote, thank you, unquote. And I would ask that that be added to the minutes of the meeting of October 11, 2012 verbatim.
Is that a motion that you're making?
It is, it's amendment to your motion.
I will second it.
Discussion.
You can't have discussion on it?
We can have discussion on the
You
second.
cannot have discussion on that. That's a subordinate motion to my motion. It's not allowed to be discussed. You have to call the vote.
All right, call the vote. We'll do a roll call vote. Jamie?
Chairman Van Zak,
No.
Supervisor Bansky,
No.
Supervisor German,
Yes.
Supervisor Laska,
No.
Supervisor Fisher.
Yes.
I'd like to make an amendment to your motion, Mr. Bansky. I'd like you to consider tabling this for review by the clerk for the accuracy of the information that's been provided to be prepared for the next meeting.
I will accept that amendment to my motion and table this subject minutes to the next meeting.
Do a roll call vote. Amy.
Need to get a second.
Oh, sorry. Second, please. I'll second.
Second.
Thank you, Mike. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Mr. German, please indicate on the records Mr. German is opposed. All right, so we have 2 sets being tabled, 2 done. October 16th, special town board meeting.
Make a motion we approve October 16th special town board meeting minutes.
Is there a
Second.
Thank you.
Discussion.
Go ahead, Mr. German.
Have you read the minutes, Joe, or listened to the tapes?
I've read the minutes and find them acceptable, so I made my motion.
Have you listened to the tapes?
No.
So you're putting minutes out to the public that are incorrect and
The meeting minutes are representative of the description and the discussion that happened and the outcome of the votes. They are not listed as verbatim minutes, therefore they do not need to be verbatim minutes. They are not a court transcript of what took place in this room.
All right, further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
opposed.
Mr. German is opposed. October 23rd, closed session.
Move for approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? October 25th, is there a motion to approve?
Hold on 1 second. I need a first and second from the 23rd, sorry. Supervisor Laska, you would need to abstain from the 23rd and the 25th.
Brian had a first. I had the second.
All right. Moving on to the 25th, motion to approve.
Motion made to approve.
Mr. Bansky made the motion to approve. Is there a second?
Mr. Laska needs to abstain.
Mr. Lesk is abstaining appropriately. I'll make the second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
You're aye opposed?
And I oppose.
Okay. Then we will send these back on the agenda.
Madam Chair, can Attorney Gilmore, given that that motion just failed, please inform the board of the process by which meeting minutes or any motion that fails can be reconsidered.
In the absence of a special rule which you may have in your town ordinances, a party in the on the prevailing side can make a motion for reconsideration. Given that minutes are an integral part of your record, you may wish to consider suspending the rules after tabling that matter and allowing the objecting members of the board to submit to the clerk any supplementation that they feel is important. As a matter of practice in all of the communities that I am familiar with, in the years that I've practiced law, no community generates verbatim minutes in situations where there is a controversial topic under consideration. What some communities have done is hire just for that proceeding a court reporter. This situation you find yourself in is a very interesting one because you have available to you technology that previously was not available. Digital recordings, which are more understandable and more comprehensive than previous recording mechanisms, and also the ability to electronically transfer those digital recordings to any requester. The important thing about any style of minutes that is kept is that there be a certain amount of consistency, so that if in fact a governing body just wants to do what the law requires, which is basically to record motions made and vote on them, you can do that. If you want further information, you will have to take into consideration the available staff to prepare these kinds of things. Regardless of what format you pursue, it would be my recommendation that since you have this tool available to you, that you try to perpetuate the preservation of your digital recordings, so that ultimately, if there is some inquiry about some point that was made but was not necessarily made in connection with a particular vote, that you have some sort of reference.
Specifically, Hector, if I understand it correctly, now that the motion has failed, in order for this to be reviewed and reconsidered for approval at a later date, a member of the winning or supporting side here that voted against approving the minutes would need to make a motion at this meeting or at the following meeting to reconsider that, or this meeting minutes would not be reconsidered by this body for approval. Is it ever?
I would have to research your ordinances for the reason that the approval of a record of past proceedings may have special status as opposed to a motion to, say, purchase a piece of equipment. Because in your ordinances, you do have the requirement that minutes of your meetings be kept.
May I just ask a clarifying question of Supervisor Bansky, and you prevailed with your motion for bare minimum minutes, then am I to, as soon as that motion that you made was approved, does that apply to public hearings? Does that apply to the planning commission? Does that apply to all minutes here that would be prepared at the town workshop?
That's a previous item and not to be discussed further, but to answer your question, Brian, Jamie is a very intelligent clerk. She will follow the legal advice of our attorney, and she will provide the required meeting minutes for those meetings.
Respectfully, I guess I'm asking the question of you and not really of the
Mr.
town.
Fisher,
Just let me finish,
no,
please.
you cannot finish because this is, as Mr. Bansky's indicated, this is a previous topic, and you as a stickler for the rules, please follow the rules. So, the October 25th meeting minutes are not approved on a 2-2 vote. It's probably the most ridiculous time I've ever spent in the town of Waukesha since 1995 when I walked in the door here. October 31st, 2012. Is there a motion to approve?
No motion to approve.
Was there a second?
I'll gladly take a second to somebody else's first. That was there.
You got it.
All right. Mr. Fisher is first, Mr. Bansky second. Yes. Yes? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Wonderful. November 8th, closed session. Looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. November 8th, meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the November 8th meeting.
Is there a second? Mr. Alaska seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Opposed.
Mr. Fisher is opposed. November 15th, closed session.
Supervisor German would abstain.
Needs to abstain.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, well, terrific. We've gotten through the tough part of the meeting. Plan Commission items.